Well, Stephen Powell will get in his face. No doubt about it.
Let the combat begin. Preliminary final night, 2005. St Kilda and the Sydney Swans. And Jude Bolton, where he loves to be in the thick of it. Del Santo to strike the first blow for the Saints, perhaps. Thompson, more accustomed to starting on the bench than on the field. Harvey, everyone's favourite, perhaps except for the Swans fans. Was that some holding on? Crouch and Milne. Milne's had a pretty good record against Crouch in recent times.
Yes, and Craig Bolton, Steve Silvani playing on Nick Riewoldt. Now, you picked that pre-game.
Yeah, I think that's the right one. Bolton's been in super form all year. Great pace and a real competitor, Craig Bolton.
Could be an indication of what Adam Goods is in for tonight from Stephen Powell.
The offer of the handshake not accepted. It is tough and ruthless stuff. Luke Ball, now Goddard as the Saints build. It's over Riewoldt's head. There's a free kick.
It's early times, but just the strength of Gehrig in that situation. The ball was kicked high, it was coming down. Leo Barry was just pushed out of the way. He held his ground, the big Fraser Gehrig. And you can see the arm held by Leo Barry, and that's why the free kick has been played. But look at the strength in the legs of Gehrig to hold his position. Also the jumper being held, and no doubt a free kick.
It's a worry for Sydney. He has kicked 13 in his last 2 encounters with Barry, after Barry held him kickless in a match in Sydney in the middle of last year. It's a goal. The Saints are on the board. It just found its way home.
Well, we just see the kick to the top of the square by Goddard. Smart kick early on. Put the backman under pressure. The Swan backman's under pressure. And Leo Barry wouldn't have liked this kick. It was high. It was to the top of the square. He had to hang on to make the contest.
Well, there's nothing quite like a final, is there?
And just have a look at that. That just shows the resolve of Stephen Powell. The offer of the handshake from Adam Goods pre-game, not accepted by Powell. That's okay. He's here to do business and get his team into a grand final.
Well, we know Kirk and the Swans will keep coming out of the midfield. Buchanan beheaded.
Thanks, Nick. Just keep him down there, Nick, okay? Just watch him, mate, okay? Right there, playing you around.
Now, will they move it long and direct tonight? Something they really failed to do last week. Hall had a good runner. And they've got numbers, and here's Barry Hall's chance to be involved in a Swans goal. Williams off the left. Great strike. And that is promising for Sydney fans who didn't see too many goals last week.
No, super contest. This is a free kick out of the middle, caught high. Great contest by Hall, though. He crashed 3 or 4 players. At the minute, Maguire has got up gingerly. Good hands by Barry Hall. Great goal by Williams, but Maguire just in a bit of trouble. Trainer's out to him.
Still on his knees, as you saw, as that ball sailed through. So, well, each side striking a blow.
And Paul Williams hasn't kicked a goal since round 14, Walsey.
Just his 4th goal for the season, his 18th game, and just 4 goals to Paul Williams, so a great start for the Swan.
And just at the minute, Barry Hall taking Maguire back to the goal square. He wouldn't like that, Matt Maguire.
Hall attacked that contest hard, which Swans fans would have enjoyed. Buchanan, no high tackle that time. Jude Bolton gets back. And the Swans control the footy. O'Keefe versus Clark. O'Keefe getting under it. Didn't touch chalk. No, it gets out on the full. Brett Voss's ball.
Brett Voss playing on Michael O'Loughlin. And that means Maxie Hutchton is playing on ball. Swans have gone into the game with 2 ruckmen, one playing deep forward, the other in the midfield.
Lenny Hayes, at the prime of his career, averaging 24 touches per game through the year as we check in on Maguire.
Looks as though Hutchton might have copped him in the head with a flying fist.
I reckon he wouldn't mind getting one in the head. It's in the hip that it hurt.
Ball, and Ackland, Kirk, kept it moving. Davis, not near goal. O'Loughlin and O'Keefe collaborating, and again it's Hall versus Maguire. Early points to Hall, but Hutchton shows the greatest of support, and now they can share it around and get it out of defence. Ball's kick onto the wing, looks more promising. Swans up and about. Montagna also keeping his feet. He's still standing, and now he's doing more than that. Presses on from half forward. 3 bounces. This is great stuff. The finish. On the line, Del Santo.
What a great run by Montagna. He carried 3 bounces. Michael O'Loughlin chased him 120 metres. That won't do him any good. And then the mark in the square by the midfielder.
Keep going, one more. Thank you.
Well, without Hamill and Koschitzke tonight, you think the Saints need their midfielders to kick goals. Del Santo's kicked 14 for the year.
Just pop it back, Tyke. Tyke, you have to go back a bit, okay? Thank you.
Had a fine season.
Don't block there, no shepherding. Right there, Tyke.
He's done enough. 2 on the board for the Saints.
And Steve, what you've got to like about that goal is the fact that young Montagna was prepared to back himself. He didn't panic, he got it, he realised that Michael O'Loughlin would never catch him, and he was able to carry that ball at least 50 metres before he unloaded with the long kick.
Well, it's great confidence. He's been a bit of a surprise pack at Montagna over the last 4 to 5 weeks. He's been in their best players, but did it very well. Even to put the kick to the top of the square, Del Santo did the rest.
And there's the glove. Stephen Baker, the best tagger in the St Kilda team. He's got the job on Nick Davis. Nick Davis won't like that because he knows he'll be in for a torrid night with Baker as his opponent.
St Kilda dangerous. Sydney have only kicked 17 goals in 2 finals. The Saints look capable of kicking plenty. The way they've started, Goddard swamped. Fosdyke a chance for Sydney. And Kirk is skirting him. Had to kick with the wrong foot under pressure. Voss did well to keep it in front of himself and was held surely when he didn't have it. There'll be a ball up.
Well, you called it, Tim. Had to be a free kick. Didn't have possession of the ball, Michael Voss. Very unlucky.
And there we see the big knock out of the ruck by Jolly. Worth a kick.
Darren Goldspink officiating. Aussie Jones working it. Del Santo now. Started well, keeps it very wide, perilously so, but it lands well for Goddard.
Thanks, mate.
Who moves it close to the line, heading for the captain. Bolton with him all the way. And we can see the conditions just having an effect, particularly close to the boundary line. The desperation wins out there. Revolt, Goddard, Hayes, all involved. Milne and Crouch, their duel continues. Kennelly, the provider of so much run and dash. Fosdyke gets involved. Promising build-up as Matthews heads for O'Keefe. Clark with the fist, it was timely. Bolton, now this duel continues between Maguire and Hall. And Maguire had things under control that time, linking up with Hudson and Voss. Looks up onto the wing, doesn't see anything he really likes. Biding his time, and in the end, time ran out.
Well, just some good pressure there by the Swans forwards. Barry Hall chasing down, and we just see here O'Keefe. Great smother. Good forward line pressure.
2 goals to 1. The Saints lead. The Swans turn to attack. Ackland with Hall. Hall a useful ruckman when the ball's in the front half. Clever O'Loughlin with the left foot. Hall, Goods weighted down. Goddard couldn't get a disposal that time. He started well. He's been in the midst of a lot. Umpire McLaren this time calling for the ball up. Goldspink, McLaren and Vozzo. Hall winning well there.
And have a look at this. The Sydney players move out as they did last week to make a bit of space in their forward line for the ruck work.
And guess who came through? They were ready for him this time, Nick Davis. Still it's alive though. Clark, ball, and they sort themselves out. Del Santo heads for the line, and he overcooked it. And the Saints defence under a fair bit of pressure there.
Well, they are. Great effort by Luke Ball to avoid the tackle and get the handball over to Nick Del Santo.
And that's a rehearsed move, of course, and St Kilda, you'd think, would know it well and truly after last week.
Yeah, I think the Saints, it was a rehearsed move as well, Wolsey.
Yeah, no doubt.
They were ready for him.
As things have settled down, Goddard has gone on to Goods.
Kirk across to Kennelly, and now Snyder. Ready to let fly. He just poked it to Williams, who's providing an unlikely avenue to goal.
Yeah, some really great build-up by the Swans there. St Kilda got numbers back. They had plenty of numbers behind the ball. But what the Swans players did, they spread. They all spread. They gave the space to Williams to be able to find a little bit of space. It was a good, clever kick to find him.
Well, he hasn't kicked a goal since round 14. He got the first one tonight, and that makes it 4 for the season. Lee Montagna playing on Paul Williams. Montagna set that goal up for the Saints, but gee, he's got to be careful when the ball goes into Sydney's forward line. He's got to be shoulder to shoulder.
He's been a good goal kicker over his career, though, Paul Williams. Over 300 of them through the middle. So he knows where they are. It's level. And I reckon from what we've seen so far, Rob and Steve, they look pretty dangerous up forward, the Swans.
Well, they do. They're moving. They're working hard. This goal resulted from the pressure from O'Keefe. The smother over the boundary. They were able to set up. They created a stoppage. They found the footy, and Williams was able to put the goal through.
Ever the Sphinx. It's just about an extravagant start from the Swans. 17 goals in 8 quarters. 2 in not many minutes here. Voss makes a good spoil. Blake covers. Mown down from behind by Jolly. No free kick. Blake needs to get it out. It squirts out through his legs.
How time? Mine. Okay, guys, that's fine. Let it go. Thanks.
So another ball up.
Thanks.
St Kilda defenders are really switching their roles around. At the moment, Maxie Hudson is now on Barry Hall, and Maguire's got O'Loughlin.
Jolly, height advantage and strength on Blake. First to the ball, Maguire. Good aggressive stuff. We'd expect nothing less, as we wouldn't from Jude Bolton, back with the flight.
And ready to send it back in again. And taking a direct path of the Davis direction. Testing his aerial skills and testing them well.
And that's what Davis has to do tonight. Go for everything in the air against Stephen Baker because he's got the height.
Kennelly goes for Hall, a new opponent already. Hudson, there's his old opponent, Maguire. Some hanging on, and it's a free to Hudson. Do you reckon the move's been made, Rob, or do you think it's just a little bit of working things out?
I think Hudson will take whoever is at full back, at full forward for Sydney. They don't want to move Hudson out to the half-back line. They'd rather have a look at Barry holding hold of his jumper there. Definitely a free kick. And a courageous effort by Matty Maguire to come across the front there and help out.
Subtlety never was Barry's strong point, of course.
Lee Montagna has been dragged after allowing his opponent to get the first 2 goals.
Baker now with a possession of his own. He'll prevent plenty, takes it wide for Revolt. That'll be a great matchup. Ball stays alive, and Craig Bolton mops it. Could have taken it out, wins the free kick.
Well, you've just seen Revolt go up the ball on 2 or 3 occasions. Great, Craig Bolton has been right on him. He hasn't found much room at the minute, Nick Revolt.
Ben Matthews, sturdy defensive midfielder for Sydney. Had the job on Ablett last week. Goes for Jolly. Barry's up there as well.
Against you, Fraser. Yours turn.
Well, this time,
against Fraser.
the Swans get the free kick against Gehrig.
Leo Barry is running Fraser Gehrig up the ground. He needs to do this all night. Fraser Gehrig's fitness is questionable.
Oh, terrific calls, Steve, and there we see it again.
Reaping the rewards. Last week's hero's got the chance here. Davis couldn't take it. Hall comes through Hudson. This is tough stuff. You'd expect nothing less. Del Santo, it's all about clean hands and clear heads, and sometimes we don't see either. We might see another Swan scoring chance, but the smothers, the tough, the hard things are just as vital as the classy, clean things, aren't they? Nick Del Santo there.
Yeah, great pressure by both teams. Good smother there by Del Santo. Nick Davis is pushed to the goal square as well. When he goes forward, Brett Voss takes him because he's too tall, too good in the air for Stephen Baker. So plenty of moves being made out there.
They're pressing, aren't they, the Swans? We saw that the last 8 inside 50s. Maguire blazing to the wing. There's more Swans there than Saints. Once the ball hit the ground, it was always going to head Sydney's way. Which way will it go? Kennelly through the middle, finds Bolton, another promising build-up.
And it might be the last 9 entries to the 50. It will be. Ryan O'Keefe on the edge of range here. He's going for broke. He's hooked it. Hall is one out. Big chance. Del Santo got a hand onto it. Barry needs to get it off.
More! Came off Nick's fist. Came off Nick's fist.
Gee, let's have a look at it. Del Santo caught in a terrible spot. The umpire said it came off Del Santo's fist.
more like his forearm, but I think it was accurate. A free kick to Hall.
And I think the umpire was very happy that he could find one.
You're not saying they square up, do you, Rob?
Oh, geez, I thought Barry was a bit stiff not to get paid that. Let's have a look. There's the ruck contest. Barry mauled across the face. Has to be a free kick. And umpire Vozzo says, I'm glad about that. Tell you what they've done, Sydney, Steve. They have mixed and matched their forward line to upset the St Kilda defence, and they've done it exceptionally well.
They have, and they've got the ball in there quickly.
That's the key. And Hall kicks their third. The Swans lead. Well, they've quietened the St Kilda fans. Let's have another look at this. Del Santo went early, which was wise. I think he got something onto it. Question is whether or not that is interpreted as a touch ball. There's often another hand on a ball when a mark is taken.
We know they mean business tonight, that's for sure.
And we just see Voss there into Barry Hall, a bit of argy-bargy.
Or maybe Wolsey.
And there's Brendan Goddard, who was just sitting 20 metres behind Goods when the ball went to the St Kilda half-forward line. And Goods, in turn, got it into the centre corridor, which set up the goal.
Maybe some bluff from Paul Roos during the week, who was happy to say that this would be a closed-down game. It's been anything but so far, as the Swans have been playing a much more direct path to goal. And that trend continues. Matthews. And the Saints, who have been on the back foot, this is more like what we've seen for the last couple of weeks in the Swans.
And if we were going to go back to the last, this is Barry Hall.
Oh, hang on. Matty Maguire's gone down after a knock from Barry Hall. And we might get another look at that.
The feisty Baker takes it meantime and gets them to centre half forward. Again, the Swans' numbers prevailing.
Well, Barry Hall is by himself. Maguire, get on him, because you can't worry about a knock to the stomach. You've got to get on your opponent.
Well, as a result, Barry Hall had his own vacant lot in the forward pocket, and he will go back to extend this lead if he can to 2 goals.
This is it. This is about 30 seconds ago. Cop that. Maguire goes to ground, stays on ground. Barry Hall frees up, takes the mark in the forward pocket, because Maguire's still on hands and knees, and that's why you got the boos to Barry when he took that mark, because I reckon a lot of St Kilda supporters at this end of the ground saw what happened.
Well, what a sensational camera shot it was of the action too. It could have big ramifications, but more immediately Barry Hall converts, and it's a 2-goal ball game. Anything can and will happen at the MCG.
Let's see the reaction of Matthew Maguire.
Now,
Barry's got him sucked in.
He has.
He's kicked 2 goals. He's got 1 free kick. He's put 1 save down, even to the extent that Fraser thinks, I better come down here and help out, because the boys can't handle it by themselves.
well, was that Hudson contact high or not? Let's go back and see this one first.
I'll tell you one thing for sure, that is going to be shown many, many times between now and 3 o'clock next Monday afternoon.
Well, they've got to win the game now.
But the worry is, Fraser Gehrig is playing on Barry Hall. I don't like that. They're saying that Barry's too good for us. Barry's bluffed us, and they've moved Fraser Gehrig. Paul Roos would be thrilled.
Swans winning the centre breaks. They're winning on the scoreboard by 2 goals. They've kicked the last 3.
Now, Rod, if I was Barry Hall, Paul Roos needs to get a message out to him and say, run him.
Yep.
Run Fraser Gehrig and tire him out.
Blow him up. Blow him up, because this is a bad move by Grant Thomas. This is a terrible move.
Ablett, Sydney on the break again. Here's an early test for Gehrig. O'Loughlin arriving. Jones, Hudson, Clark, St Kilda under fierce pressure. This is a surprise. Clark delivers beautifully. And Lenny Hayes, who hasn't had an impact yet, will get 50.
And boy, do they need it. Inside 50s, 13-3. At this stage of the game, all Sydney.
And if we go back to their last performance, these 2 team met, Swans only had 29 for their entire game.
And Lenny Hayes, who certainly felt the glove of Brett Kirk in previous matches. Last time Kirk played on ball, but the 2 previous times to that, He had certainly been stymied by Brett Kirk.
I don't like this at all. Matty Maguire got one in the gut, so what? Get up and chase your opponent and let him know you'll beat him next time it comes down. Instead, St Kilda have panicked. They put Gehrig into the back line. They put Maguire up forward. They've thrown their balance right out.
Thompson goes for revolt. Again, the Swans with all the numbers at the back. And now Leo Barry can launch. Confident, relentless running out of defence. Williams. That's not a well-directed kick. And Raf Clark, under the pressure of this final, takes the mark and gives it to Gwilt.
The 19-year-old playing just his third game. He hasn't started well. That's how it falls.
Now!
When these teams met in mid-season at Telstra Dome, Sydney had 3 goals won at half-time. They have 4 goals with 8 minutes of the first quarter left. They have started like a shot out of a gun.
And what they're saying, St Kilda, is that Matty Maguire can't handle Big Bad Barry.
Thanks, Matt.
Big Bad Barry beats him in one contest, in one hard go, and so they make the move. Not good enough.
Yes!
Kirk for Kennelly and Fosdyke. Swans are dangerous again. Crouch running out of defence. Beautiful delivery to O'Keefe, who can line them up.
Rob, I actually wonder whether there was something wrong with Matt Maguire earlier. Actually, when he went down in the first minute of the game, he's looked proppy since then.
Well, this is, again, we're having a look at what happened after Barry kicked his second goal. And he's got him sucked in, no doubt about that.
Ryan O'Keefe to give Sydney a break.
Thanks, Lenny, there.
It's a good kick. This is a stunning first quarter from the Sydney Swans. These are the doer, low-scoring, boring Swans. 17 goals in 2 finals. They have 5 well before quarter time.
And thank God St Kilda's come to its senses. They've moved Maguire into defence. They've got Gehrig going forward. And Maxie Hutchison's taking care of Big Bad Barry.
Well, they've turned the lights off, I think, in the coach's box. We're expecting it to be warfare tonight, a bit of camouflage from the coaches. Grant Thomas being tested. His team trails by 3 goals. Del Santo's been busy, but they haven't been able to generate the normal run and drive out of their midfield walls.
No, they haven't, Hutto. It's just been all Sydney in the middle, but they finally put Gehrig back to the forward line, and he'll be relieved about that. Maguire's gone to full back on O'Loughlin. Hutchinson playing at half back on Hall.
I think you're relieved about that too, it's fair to say. Ball can't go anywhere. And they all just come in from every angle.
Let's go.
We're back to this more familiar style of Sydney.
Well, what they have done on occasions at the stoppages, the ball ups, the Swans. Oh, that's a big hit.
He's tough. He is tough. Don't worry about Brett Kirk. Have a look at that. He got it because he went diving hard and low, got the knee in the head. It was an accident
from his teammate.
Yeah, they'll clean him up, but he'll be out again because he's made of the right stuff and he knows what's at stake.
The blood-stained Angels.
Straight back this side, guys.
And there's another great shot of how it happened.
Get back to that forward line set up in a moment. Certainly the Swans have maintained their structure tonight. Often we've seen their forwards disappear into the midfield, but not tonight. Buchanan into the pocket. A little bit of confusion, eventually some cohesion, and it was required. Del Santo's been really the only midfielder for the Saints who's been up and about, and he finds Aussie Jones.
Fierce tackling by Sydney. Brett Voss felt it a moment ago. They are hitting St Kilda with the lot. Now here's Maguire. Chance to get an easy kick. Revolt arriving third in line. Well done, Bolton. He just rattled him enough. Enough to make the spoil, not too much to give away a free. Harvey the steal. The veteran might spark the Saints, and he gives to Gehrig on the bounce. Well done, Barry. Sydney full of aggression. Roberts-Thompson's come off the bench. Fools them going onto the left side. Crouch, this is wonderfully daring, confident stuff from the Swans. Matthews to Hall, and the skipper. There's a reincarnated footballer. After a couple of horror matches. O'Keefe getting among the goals a moment ago. Not much at the end of that. And the steady Del Santo is able to stem the flow.
Robert Harvey going forward, no pressure, shocking kick to Fraser Gehrig, just made it so easy. It bounced 5 metres in front of him. Barry able to get it away. Without Nick Del Santo, they'd be further behind the Saints. He's had 8 disposals and covered enormous ground. Luke Ablett going with Del Santo.
Finds Baker this time, and you can see what's ahead of him, and there's not much other than the long option on for him. Gwilt and Revolt, and again, those staying down are all wearing the red and white of the Swans. Fosdyke for Hall again at half forward. And that was terrific stuff by Maguire. Gets a punch in of his own.
And Rob, I just want to go back to the Revolt and Craig Bolton.
Steve, just have a look at this one. That was the one that caused all the problems, and that was 40 metres off the ball.
You talked about that being replayed, Tim. If they win, I mean, that is going to be a massive build-up to any potential ramifications on Monday.
Yeah, Robin, I just want to go back to the Bolton Revolt.
St.Kilda,
they've gone to final 6 contest, and Bolton has been on him every time. He's worked him over, and he's got his reins at the minute.
And good evening, Peter Schwab, Andrew McKay and Peter Carey if you're watching. Stephen Baker took too long, he's gone, it's fallen for his kick.
Give it time now, give it time.
Forward line pressure once again by the Swans.
He's the dominant figure in this opening quarter. And he has O'Keefe on his own and within range again.
And that's been one of their highlights, the quickness of getting the ball into their forward 50, something they didn't do last week, Rob.
And Nick Del Santo, who's been their best player, he's a bit proppy at the moment too.
He's actually just come off the ground, gone straight to the bench and the doctors to check his left shoulder.
Stephen Baker caught napping. 2 goals to Hall, 2 to Williams. This sits up, it doesn't carry home. It's a behind, the first behind. After nearly a quarter of football, Sydney by 19 points.
Let's get down to Neil Cordy for the latest.
Yeah, Brett Kirk, that's a very nasty gash. As we saw, he's had to go into the rooms to get a proper stitch-up job.
Good protection from ball for Hayes, but all of a sudden it comes unglued for the Saints. And there's plenty of Swans there trying to capitalise. They can't, well they might now. From the wayward kick into the lap of O'Loughlin. I thought Powell maybe had just crept over the mark for a moment. He hadn't, so that's okay.
Barry Hall in the goal square, playing on Luke Ball. They are a rabble at the moment, the Saints' defence.
O'Keefe's been an important link, and he links up this time with Bolton. A blind kick, and Goddard takes the mark unhindered, but he had nowhere to go. I'm not sure what he was thinking there. Kicked it to the wing. Crouch maybe could have got a free kick after he really should have done better. We'll see a bounce on the wing, but the Saints are on the back foot here, Wolsey, and they need a massive turnaround in momentum.
And
look at that.
they are going that bad, they're knocking each other over, the Saints.
Well, you've got to go back to the Swans' pressure, Rob. That's what's causing their mistakes.
The entries to the 50 are 17-5. St Kilda lucky to be as close as they are.
What's been fantastic coaching by Paul Roos, he's mixed and matched his forward line up. They haven't settled into one position for more than 2 minutes. You've got Hall going back and forward, O'Loughlin going out of the 50, big ball down there. Saint defenders just haven't been able to get into any rhythm at all.
The veterans, Harvey and Thompson combine, and another one of them, Powell, is running. He's not quick enough though to be able to break. He was in a position to. Hayes, Revolt is there, Gehrig is there. But so are the Swans defenders, Barry and Bolton. And they're prevailing here. So it's a ball up. Rob, this is reminding me of the 72 Grand Final. Carlton had kicked 17 goals in 2 finals against Richmond, and they came out and kicked 8 in the first quarter of the Grand Final. Pressure on though here. Thompson for the Saints. The veteran misses. The margin still 3 goals.
I'd like to comment on that, Tim, but I was 1 at the time. How old were you, Sauce, in 72?
5.
Not a good sign for the Saints. Del Santo going straight to the rooms to get a further check-up on that shoulder.
Robert Walls remembers. He was at centre-half forward and kicked 6 of Carlton's 28.
And Barmy kicked 5 goals that day as well, didn't he? There was a goal fest. 31 plays, 13. Now Gehrig a little further up the ground after some discussion with the umpire at the last stoppage, but nowhere to go again for the Saints, and as a result, Williams, Buchanan, and now Barry able to work together to get it to half-back. Roberts Thompson. And it's over and out, and not a bad place to be for the Swans, who would be quite comfortable with the scoreline at the moment.
Well, just been a fantastic quarter by Sydney. Full of surprises, the way that they lined up their forward line and kept it moving. St Kilda couldn't settle, and great psychological advantage when Maguire went down, didn't get after Hall, and then Gehrig went into the back line. That was a bad sign.
Here's a chance for them to nab one before quarter time. Gehrig!
And that's where he should be, Hutto.
Well, he's right in front and shouldn't miss, and that will give them an important goal just before quarter time.
Well, if he kicks it, Steve, they're only a couple of goals behind in a quarter, which has just been full of surprise moves and victories for the Swans. So, obviously, they're still in the contest.
Well, they haven't played great football. They've only been inside their forward 50 on 8 occasions. Their forwards have lacked the supply. They need to start winning the ball around the stoppages, the Saints.
Big Fraser Gehrig kicked 13 goals in his last 2 games against the Swans, but only 1 in the 3 before those 2 very productive games. He needs to just send it through nicely, and he does enough. Enough to get some noise out of the Saints fans, who have been awfully quiet in the last 10 minutes.
And that's a good kick by Stephen Powell, because he's a natural left footer, so he went to his non-preferred side and he put it into space, which enabled Gehrig to lead into it and slide. And that is a very, very handy goal for St Kilda just on the quarter-time siren.
A quarter to have St Kilda folk a little nervous, but that's an important goal. There's only 2 goals in it. They've had a lot thrown at them. They're not way behind. Crouch. He's a great goer, and he's still going as Jolly gives it back. Matthews. Now O'Keefe versus Voss. O'Keefe just can't get away. Few forwards can from Brett Voss. It's quarter time. It's been a wonderful start by the Sydney Siders that kicked 8 goals in their last 2 matches, in each of them against St Kilda.
Brett Kirk's come back, been stitched up and wearing the headgear for the second half.
Good start, Jolly, thumping it forward. Saints have to cover here. Hayes to Hudson. And the delivery to Baker. The good news for St Kilda is they've had a shocking quarter and they trail by just 2 goals. Speaking of shocking, that's a poor kick. And it's easy for Crouch against Little Milne.
And Rob, we've noticed that the centre square bounces. Jolly and Ball are hitting the ball forward. They're just smashing the ball forward. The St Kilda on ballers need to be aware of that.
Brett Kirk's borrowed Chris Grant's bike helmet.
Lovely sight. The wrestling in the ruck. A familiar sight these days at all AFL grounds. Continues.
St Kilda have won their last 9 second quarters. They'll be hoping they win this one.
Now there is Nick Riewoldt and Craig Bolton. Nick Riewoldt has only had the 1 handball for the game.
And that's a stat that'll have to change, you would think, if the Saints are to ultimately make it through to the grand final tonight. Bolton been pretty prominent so far. Straight ahead player. Quickly lassoed in though by Ball. High tackle.
Put him around the head. Right there, leg up. 50.
50 now.
Winning the contest.
Down in the St Kilda goal square, Lee Montagna is opposed to Ty Kennelly.
Yeah.
And they're just desperately trying to get Kennelly off the half-back line for Sydney, because he runs and receives so well. They had 6 touches in that first quarter.
Right next to the sign. No. Yeah, thanks.
Buchanan comes off after giving away the 50, and you heard the explanation from the umpire. He wasn't in the initial contest, and so he's been penalised.
Big penalty, isn't it? Should be a gift goal.
How big will the penalty be? As big as it can get. A goal to the Saints. They've got the last couple. And it's getting some of their fans at least excited as Lenny Hayes puts through his 10th goal for the year.
Just a good effort there by Guerra to wrap the tackle up. We saw Guerra at the centre bounce just before quarter time come steaming in and try to cause a bit of damage.
That was stiff.
It's a soft 50, isn't it?
And for the result that it produced, it's disproportionate. St Kilda fortunate. Free kick and a 50 and a goal. Kirk is back. The margin is just a goal. St Kilda are closing. Baker to Jones. Took them on to his cost, but he was able to mop up and did it beautifully. Ball. Not much there. Dempster gets back first. Great stuff. Good stuff. Adam Goods, supreme athlete. Big Jolly running for him. Well done. O'Keefe 11 first quarter possessions. Hall, many telling plays early, and he might make another one here. Bevan wrapped up. Had no prior opportunity. There'll be a ball up. Swans pressing here. And Barry Hall is in Darren Goldspink's bad books.
Yes, and Montagna in the forward pocket, going back further and further towards goal to get Kennelly out of the action.
And now Hall, who's pretty proficient as a backup ruckman. Against Ackland. Baker chimes in. He quickly learns what forward pressure Barry Hall's style's all about.
No chance, no chance. There was no free there.
Good summary from Darren Goldspink. This is what you call no chance. But again, the Swans looming large here.
Nick Del Santo, yours.
And again, Del Santo gets the favour of the umpire ahead of Barry Hall. Interesting interpretation. As he goes for the wing, Blake playing in front, and somehow on the third bite completes the mark. Now, what's he got on offer? Up ahead, Revolt's in forward motion, but now he's doubling back and going to the side. That's better. Close to the boundary. The Swan ahead has gone down and Crouch. Meantime, the Saints have got their act together. Harvey looking for Gary.
Got it right that time. And Nick Revolt, quick handball. And Nick Del Santo, just superb handball skills. There's Revolt on the lead, just gets the quick one off. And Rob Harvey makes up for that poor pass to Gehrig in the first quarter by putting it on the big fella's ample chest.
2 marks for Fraser Gehrig and 2 goals. That's the important stat. The bottom line, he's astray. Nonetheless, they're inside a goal now. And for all the Swans' great play, the scoreboard not really reflecting it. And I guess the thing, Rob, where the Saints have been so good in the last 2 months, they've just thrashed other teams in contested ball. They're starting to get on top in that area.
They've been hard and tough just in the first few minutes of this second quarter. In close, they've thrown their weight around, and it's just starting to turn their way.
Signs good for St Kilda. Swans being held up here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Swans play, because they're masters at slowing the tempo, denying the opposition the ball.
Should they revert to type or should they keep attacking?
Oh, I'd like to see them keep attacking, Tim.
Let's go.
Goods goes into the corridor, a little dangerously. It cleared Goddard, though. Jolly, still Jolly.
One hand.
He threw it.
Hesitation from the big ruckman.
Needed to get it off. He's unlucky. Crouch has to go the spoil. Jones is dangerous. Could he work a miracle? No, he couldn't. Sydney's ball, but it's all defence for the moment for the tearaway Swans.
Ozzie Jones playing back flank on Buchanan.
Trying to clear the defensive zone. Not that easy at the moment. We saw the Saints press just like this in the opening term. Kennelly's best method is to run and carry. That was pretty bold. Just gave him the extra 10 metres. Chance to clear a line or two. Kirk. Blake having an influence now. Harvey likewise, just starting to get the feel of the footy. And Jones looks dangerous as well. Revolt made the move. Off the boot of Bolton. Wasn't clean. Gave Gehrig a look in. And that was all he needed. Well played, Big Fraser. Now he grabbed the boot that time at Dempster. It was there, and Dempster to take it at centre half.
Done a couple of good things, Dempster. When he's been under pressure, he's made the right decisions.
Son of a former Swan. First season. And it's been an impressive one from him. Jude Bolton. Swans a little less corridor oriented now. Fosdyke. Now O'Keefe.
Gee, he's had too much uncontested ball. That's his 12th disposal.
Ralph Clark with the sit here, and after everybody else collapsed, he was able to take it uncontested. Blake, St Kilda on the build again. The tone of the game has changed. Montagna produced one scintillating run in the first quarter. Kick too strong for Gehrig. Milne the danger here. Crouch, great effort to hold him up. And a fight on now. But Powell able to get the hand pass off. Montagna kept on coming. Good gang stuff from Sydney. O'Keefe and Voss, neither flinching. Great footy, great footy. Hayes with the head down. Powell, Kennelly, it's on now. We have a battle. Buchanan to Matthews, Sydney off the hook.
And to half forward perhaps, or maybe not. O'Loughlin couldn't handle it, Maguire could. Not so clean with the disposal. Clark, a little bit of a standoff. Now Goddard, they start to build. Into Gehrig, he's in front. Barry is now though, left it behind. Fraser there with the crumbs. Got through one, but not the second. Robert Harvey goes to work. Across to Revolt on the bounce. Time's on his side.
Has he kicked?
He's made contact. It's online. And he might just inspire the Saints, yet they're in front. Suddenly they're in front.
Just super footy, pressure, Rob. That's all it was, pressure. Looked like Sydney were going to clear the ball, but Robert Harvey was able to square it up to Nick Revolt. Great composure, great goal, but great football by both football clubs.
It was a brilliant goal from Revolt. The gather on the half volley, excellent. The pressure was coming from his right, but Zen-like, he kept his composure and he nailed the kick.
I tell you what, I reckon the umpire put the whistle away as well.
Stephen Milne, and he featured in that bit of play, just had the 2 touches to this stage of the game. Jared Crouch, hard to get a kick against Crouch, doing an excellent job.
The Saints are showing they have what it takes. They've hit back after being unnerved. Jolly the hand on the ball, winning lots of those, but the takeaway is St Kilda's. Jones and Del Santo. Goods attacked, Goddard waited back, and it could be to the Saints' advantage. Probing ball, Gehrig, Milne waiting, Milne lurking. Swans cover it. Pressure from St Kilda now. Ball still alive. They have put the whistles away, Sauce, and it's still going. Got to be a ball up now, surely.
He never had possession over the ball here. It was right behind him. Thanks, guys.
And
Thanks, Stephen.
Adam Goods has been moved into defence just to shore up things. Goddard going with him. Saints winning the
Held
clearances.
his arm in the ruck. He actually held hold of his arm.
Saints have been winning the clearances in this second quarter. Their midfield starting to get some good takeaways.
And it's a more familiar side, isn't it? It's more like the St Kilda we've come to know over the season. Buchanan takes it from Jolly, and again he looks up. All he can see is one-on-ones. Good heavy work by O'Keefe on Voss. That is a terrific matchup, and O'Keefe is prevailing at the moment. And again he's dangerous. Paul at the back, Davis. He'll eat this. This is comfortable stuff compared to last week. Swans back in front now.
Well, Jet, that's just the strength of O'Keefe. O'Keefe playing an outstanding game, but it was super play by Barry Hall, just running back behind him, creating the spillage here, and Davis read it very, very well. Well done, Barry Hall.
The man of last week's semi-final, Nick Davis, kicks his first. Ryan O'Keefe starting the move.
Had to feel for Steve Baker. Came over the top to help out against Barry Hall. It spilled over the back to his opponent, Nick Davis. He did the right thing, Baker, because Hall had Maguire completely beat. See this? Hall's got Maguire beaten there. He knows that. And Baker says, I've got to go. I've got to help my mate. In the end, the ball flips over the back. It's an easy goal for Davis.
Don't see many goals kicked like that in the modern game. Davis enjoyed it. Loop ball, been pretty quiet. High, yes it was.
Head, mate. You actually had your leg all over his head.
The ball following umpire Vozzo at the moment.
Thanks, mate, thanks.
Just 5 disposals thus far for the All-Australian midfielder.
Yeah, Ref Clark's gone forward. He's Kennelly's opponent. Kennelly not paying him any respect there.
Goes to Gehrig, good lead, good delivery. Revolt, good man to have waiting down. Barry finding the line, and the umpire is not dissatisfied. Gehrig is.
What's your decision?
Oh, I don't think he had anywhere to go.
Well, he did. Straight over the boundary line. And that's exactly where he went. 5 points in it. Things just settling down for the moment, but not for long. Blake off to Thompson. Couldn't hook it back the way he would have liked.
Nick Del Santo pushing to the goal square. Luke Ablett, his opponent. Del Santo had a terrific game to this stage. 11 disposals.
So Crouch in his 180th consecutive match finds Barry.
Whilst Sydney sit on the footy, Fraser Gehrig's been given a run down the middle of the ground by Ty Kennelly. Poor old Fraser saying, hang on, I don't want to be chasing all night. He's on the half-back flank now, still chasing Kennelly and not gaining at all.
You can just see him in the middle of the picture there. Kennelly keeps on coming. He may be involved in this passage of play. He's at the front and waiting. And there he is, getting involved with Blake. And Blake goes for the line.
Throw it in, fell into his side.
Same result.
Craig, you're right on the line, mate. Craig, you're right on the line.
Well, it's grinding down now to more like the sort of game we expected. The Swans took us all by surprise in the opening term. Ball rucking for Sydney. That's a great knock. Gives Jude Bolton a start. Good pressure, but he was able to gain some territory, if not a lot else. Free kick.
I'll tell you what, he considered himself unlucky, Barry Hall.
It might have been weighted numbers. I reckon maybe Scott McLaren had dwelt on him and thought, next time I see anything that looks half like it, I'll give it. Montagna on the break again. He's had some runs tonight. This is his third. Good long ball. Clark. Good recovery. Good tackle, Bolton. Kennelly needs to get it out. Does. Bolton.
Just a bit slow, Ref Clark, getting that handball out.
Well, I don't reckon he disposed of it correctly, Rob. I hate to harp on the umpires. Let's have a look at this. Now, that is dropping the ball.
No, you're right. They are killing him with the hit-outs, the Swans.
It's only 40 metres out from goal. Make it 50 now. Hayes tracking it back, but missing the target. Fiora couldn't get it. Fosdyke could. That's out of danger, at least for the moment. And Maguire just starting to get on top. Off he goes now. Aussie Jones. Revolt's made his move. He's going to run Bolton around. Bolton's got a good engine. Revolt, the little instep duck. And now Del Santo testing all Ablett's skills, his defensive skills. And Del Santo stayed afloat and sent them forward. Barry was the only man who really went for the footy. Now he may have just got himself into trouble. He just gets out, but it might just be for a moment. Clear the runway. Brett Voss sends them forward and finds Fiora.
I tell you what, Hutto, Brett Voss needed that because he's been given the runaround by Ryan O'Keefe. It was a perfect sit from behind, leap early, hit the bees in the back. What a screamer. And better than that, he finishes it off with a superb squared-up kick. And that'll do his confidence the world of good.
That's a classic, isn't it?
Not bad from a solid, unspectacular defender.
Good bloodlines, though, Tim.
Just previous to that, though, Rob, the effort by Nick Del Santo was something awesome.
Oh, absolutely. I hope we get a look at that a little bit later on. He almost took the mark, and then at ground level, he beat two.
Whew, what pressure on Fiora. 11 goals, 4 for the year. Not everyone's favourite player, but under the pressure of the MCG, I reckon he's almost done enough. Almost.
So he touched it before the line of the goal. Move away.
Darren Goldsmith will enjoy this.
I got knocked down. You're saying that the ball was touched before the line and then went over. Is that the way you saw it? It was touched and then went over? If you don't know, don't tell me. Do you know? Hey? Too difficult, so we'll go with the touch score. Have to be the lesser score, all right? Touch all clear.
Well, he took control, Darren Goldsmith. and I reckon the goal umpire got it right. And I reckon Darren Goldsmith handled it superbly.
Not entirely sure how it could be a score at all if it's brought forward. Anyway,
well, that's an interesting point, Hutto. We'll get back to it as the game goes on. Matthews to Barry. Little less pressure than last time, and this time he hits the target in Dempster. I wondered whether the goal umpire was concerned that he'd shepherded Kennelly out and perhaps took the sympathetic line. It just had that feel about it, but hopefully justice has been served. Dempster, O'Keefe should have held it after getting up there. Brett Voss has inspired everyone. Milne to Blake. Luke Ball in some space. This looks good for St Kilda. Time to size it all up. Revolt, got it. And he's well within range, but the question mark hangs over his set shooting.
Luke Ball just terrific to get the ball quick and long to the two big forwards, and you can see he's got Bolton under the ball there and was always in control, eyes on it. You don't really see Fraser Gehrig, but he does a pretty good job with a block on Leo Barry to keep him late on the scene.
Remember, the inside 50s were 17-5 Sydney's way. They're now 21 all. Revolt starts right. Stays right.
His kicking hasn't been good this year.
27-31 from set shots, Roberts. From outside 30 metres, it's been 15 goals, 27 for the year. I've heard him talk about different problems he's had, about how close he gets to his leg when he drops the ball. But whatever it is, he needs to get it online. Now, wrong way go back from Kennelly. Just waited, and traffic went past, and it was Luke Ablett, as you can see, who sends him to half forward, and again in the O'Keefe direction. Now Maguire, who suddenly seems inspired and full of beans. Good tough stuff. Dempster gets the kick to half forward. Brett Voss, he's landed now. Back in his more familiar role. Del Santo, tight against the line for Milne. Just to screw it to half forward. Fiora, standing very strong. Now we know he's a penetrating kick.
He's just waited for Revolt to get back.
And Blake causing some trouble to Harvey. The old-timer sets it up. Revolt, 3 to contend with. Now Gehrig comes in to lend a hand. Milne goes to work as well, looking for a free. It comes to Ball. And now Crouch with plenty of time and space. All of a sudden, the circumstances changed. Ablett,
Great tackle.
handcuffed and penalised.
Super tackle, you called it, Steve, and Nick Del Santo is the complete player, and he just wrapped up the arms.
He's lifted, Rob.
Yeah, and this is a little bit earlier in the quarter, just a bit of magic. Almost took the mark, dodged and weaved past two, and then set it up to the top of the goal square. He is a gun.
13 disposals already for Del Santo. Equal game high with O'Keefe. Now the difficult pocket for a left footer, but his skills are sublime. It's in a hot spot. It won't score. And Jason Ball. Is he playing his last game tonight?
The Swans have had great difficulty trying to clear the ball from their defensive 50. At the moment, all the pressure's on the Swans' defensive half.
We thought he'd played his last game last week, but it all changed in the last 5 seconds. O'Loughlin down in the back half, and he gets 2 possessions for the price of 1 and opens it up for O'Keefe. And Sydney can have a crack for the first time in a while.
Jeez,
Davis with Baker, and it didn't have a carry.
He had Hall on short, and he went for the longer option, which was 2-on-1 to Nick Davis.
9 possessions by Maguire, but that was his worst. Sets up Ablett, and it couldn't be in safer hands for this one.
Barry Hall in the goal square if he turns.
And he's turned his back on it, and you can see Barry Hall going off his head. Nick Davis, far too experienced to make a mistake like that. All he's thinking about is kicking the goal himself. And Matty Maguire, gee, that's a risky kick, particularly when we're almost at half-time. The Saints have fought back well in this second quarter. Sydney have only had the 1 scoring shot for the second term. I'll tell you what, he better kick it. If he doesn't kick it, Barry Hall will strangle him.
Well, last week, of course, he was the last-second hero. And now he's a 0 for Barry.
Well, just a dreadful mistake. Barry Hall was in the goal square by himself because at this stage, Matty Maguire's got his head in his hands after giving up that shocking kick.
And it's just a basic, Rob. Don't turn your back.
I know it is, but I'd also say, especially as captain, you don't unnerve your teammate when he's about to have a shot. And it might have weighed on Davis. Revolt turns it over. Nowhere to go for Kirk. Ball up.
Hit the ground, Nick, hit the ground.
It is tight now.
Right up, straight up, Howley.
Umpire said this hit the ground. Let's have a look.
Great contest.
It did.
St Kilda free kick. Blake's ball.
It's been okay, Blake, hasn't he?
Has.
Keep coming. Thanks, mate.
Saints looking for the lead inside the last 3 minutes of the quarter. It's been their turn.
Blake's had 6 touches this quarter.
Gehrig took 2 to stop him. And again, the Saints enter their 50. The numbers are 23 all after Sydney led 17-5.
Quite incredible. This quarter inside 50s. 15-6 compared to 8-17 in the Swans' favour in the first quarter.
And it might just reflect that on the board, but the lunge, once again, it's a matter of centimetres, maybe even millimetres, as Leo Barry is the last line hero.
And Andrew Thompson coming around the back of the pack at the boundary throw-in.
I think the goal umpire was a bit happy with that one. Not so Andrew Thompson.
It's amazing how often Andrew Thompson just fails to kick the goal. Now Ablett. Slightly hair-raising kick in, but eventually he was able to grasp it. Now he's got a good option long. Buchanan on the wing, but he missed that. He goes to Dempster. Clear of half-back. Sydney haven't kicked a goal for a long time. They've just squandered a golden opportunity. And now they're forced to chip it around.
Yeah, I reckon they'll be happy just to deny the Saints the ball. They'd like to go in at half-time in front. And at the moment, they're 3 points up.
Crouch has done a good job on Milne. And misses run in midfield. Buchanan heads for Goods and O'Loughlin. Goods not able to have a great deal of impact yet. Roberts-Thompson. Goddard brings him down. Now Goods. And the Swans have a chance here. Del Santo getting back. Davis to try and seize upon the spillage. The glove's got him. Ablett. The glove's got him as well with a bit of help from Del Santo. But it's a joke to the pitch.
He ducked his head, but he still took him to the ground.
So in the last 80 seconds, the Swans can try and make something.
What can they make of it? Nick Fosdyke, 60 from goal. Hall makes his lead and zoom, the ball's there.
Set up a mark inside their 50 particularly well, Sydney. Have done all year. They're patient. They wait. They're not pressured to kick it long to the square. And this is what they are after, to get it in the hands of Hall or Davis, O'Keefe, O'Loughlin. If they're inside the 50, they then expect them to kick a goal.
It's been a great battle, hasn't it, between Barry Hall and Matt Maguire. He's kicked 2 goals, so you have to say the points are with Hall, particularly if he can convert here. The Swans lead by 3 points, close to half-time. It may not make the distance, and we've seen that at both ends. Behind, and the margin is 4 in the Swans' favour.
Time for one team to make a telling play. Jones to Del Santo. The Saints have got half a minute now. It's enough if they can move it well, and they're doing just that. Maguire. It's an open front half. Can Revolt snare this? Bolton almost did. Goods arriving. Well done. They double-teamed Revolt to a nicety. And now Roberts-Thompson's half a chance. He's got 3 to beat. No hope. Overwhelmed. Jones. Del Santo just about St Kilda's man of the first half. 2 wide. And time virtually gone. So it will be Sydney taking a slender lead to the rooms at half-time. This preliminary final will hang in the balance after a sizzling start from the Swans, but a brave revival from...
And they've got the talented Del Santo and Hayes up forward.
Which way for the momentum at the start of a second half? A grand final up for grabs. It's within grasp of both sides.
Mine, I'll have it here.
I reckon we're going to see plenty of secondary ball ups and so forth as this match continues. We expected it coming in. What we didn't expect was the Swans to shoot out of the blocks so convincingly. Will they do it again? Crouch, Davis and Baker. Davis first to the ball. Fosdyke couldn't maintain his footing. The loping Clark teaming up with Thompson. And now Harvey. Great looking kick. Gehrig couldn't handle it. Gets a second crack. And Harvey kept on going. The master at work. Revolt. Was he free kicked? He was. No advantage.
He got dragged down on the lead.
And there's a bit of carnage left behind him. And you can see Crouch, eyes only for Revolt.
Poor decision. The umpire's called that he's been dragged down after the lead, Rob. They were his comments. I can't see it.
Looking at that, I think he's lucky. This is a worry. He got injured in that collision there, Jared Crouch, the man who hasn't missed a game for about 15 years.
Well, they've given away more free kicks in the back half than any team in the competition, the Swans, this year. Revolt goals. And that's 2 tonight. 2 goals they've conceded from free kicks. And this one, as we've seen on the replay, is a bit stiff.
Yes, and we just see Fraser Gehrig there drop the football, drop the mark. Maybe it's due to his thumb, but recovered really well. Harvey, his continual running between the lines, gave him the other ability to pick up the handball. Great mark, great kick by Revolt.
Bad sign for Sydney. He's had the tough job on Stephen Milne. He's a master stopper.
181 games in succession for Jared Crouch.
Imagine if he missed a grand final at the end of all of that. That's since debut.
He's
never missed.
His arm, you pulled him back.
A St Kilda free kick again.
And
again, it's Harvey.
Again, it's Harvey who's into the thick of the action to start this third term.
Playing with a desire to dominate a final series, but this time his kick comes to nothing. O'Keefe, who's been very good in the front half, stems St Kilda's forward movement. But his kick's very poor. Ackland, the former Port Adelaide player, played 12 games in 4 years. Now he's the Saints' regular #1 ruckman, and Harvey is everywhere.
Yeah, Ben Matthews on Harvey must tighten up.
Now Gehrig on an awkward half volley, but that is cleared from Leo Barry.
Thanks, Leo, right there, play on.
And Gehrig seizes the moment. Could he nail the moment? Yes, he can! The Saints lead by 8 points and they're on a roll.
Well, Fraser Gehrig gets the free kick. I'll tell you what, Robbie Harvey has started this game on fire. 4 possessions already. But this is the free kick to Gehrig. Now, Leo Barry should have known better here. He should have done his homework. Gehrig often plays on quickly.
Especially when he can be shielded by the umpire. And that's the old brain coming to the fore. And he does it time and time again. The umpire's there and he scoots around the umpire. His opponent can't get at him, opens up the angle. Ben Matthews did a great job on Gary Ablett Jr. last week. Now he's got the challenge to stop Harvey, who, as Steve Silvani said, has started like a rocket in this third quarter.
And a thunderous roar went up around the MCG. So now the Saints are driving it forward.
Free kicks are killing the Swans at the moment. The Saints are getting in first.
Oh, and there's loose men galore out wide. Ackland was adrift on the wing. To half forward, they were lining up. And Lenny Hayes.
Well, it's worked. The move that Grant Thomas came out with to start this third quarter was to have Hayes in the forward line with Del Santo and start the veterans, Harvey and Powell, in at the centre bounce, and it's worked a treat.
So Hayes, not a big goal kicker over his career. This an important one. He doesn't make the connection he would have liked. Are behind and they inch forward. 9 points the difference. Now, with Crouch off injured, this game just has touches of the semi-final last year, as we see Guerra cleaning up some more debris. Remember last year when Matthews and Williams both went off injured, the Swans were ahead at that stage, and the Saints ran right over the top of them.
Speaking of Matthews, there he is. Blake mows him down, but if the kick fell short, it did so fortuitously with Jolly playing in front. Goes for Hall. Now the skipper has a job in front of him here. Can't do anything this time. Jared Crouch is back. He is the indomitable one, the indestructible one. 181 games since debut, uninterrupted.
He's a beauty, Tim. And that'll really lift his teammates. He's come back on. He's gone on to Brent Guerra, who's trying to smash his way through the Sydney team.
It's 5 free kicks to none in 3.5 minutes of footy. St Kilda's way. They've had 15 to 8 for the night. They have more free kicks than any team in the comp. Sydney give away more frees than any team in the comp. They're playing true to form. Here's Gehrig again. Pressure on the Sydney defence right now. Fosdyke swap. Guerra, was that a push in the back? This time the umpire has mercy, and it goes the other way.
Yeah. Just happy to lie on it. You've got to make an effort.
Happy to lie on it, said the umpire.
Gee, and they were happy to lie on him too, I'd have thought. Yeah. Is that not in the back? Nick Davis is on the end of the kick, and Sydney now needing a goal to stop St Kilda. Listen to those boos. Would you believe this man is one of the 5 survivors in this match of St Kilda's 1997 Grand Final? Of course, he was then playing for the Saints.
Just going for the short pass. They're showing patience. The Swans, Sydney, St Kilda defenders just have to expect the unexpected.
Roberts Thompson, a defender, puts it in the hot spot. Good ball. Who can scout it? Fosdyke, maybe Kirk, maybe Luke Ball. It is Luke Ball, and he plays the percentages very well. It stays alive. Roberts Thompson, O'Loughlin, Matthews wasn't expecting it, and kicks poorly after the fumble. Fiora will take it away. He's got the line there if he needs it, and he uses it in the end.
Fraser Gehrig is in the defensive 50 for St Kilda.
Well, most of the players on the ground are, aren't they? As Aussie Jones got a couple to choose from. We look at the replay, that big leap. The Saints have made a break from half back. Funny looking kick from Maguire, but it does the job. Now Guerra for Revolt. He got the lead on Bolton, had that half step, but Bolton was up to the challenge. And now Barry finds his man in Ablett on the wing. And the Swans can go forward. Adam Goods surging. O'Loughlin well placed to mark. And the Magician that time just couldn't conjure the trick he needed to bring it to ground. He's not happy. Maxie Hudson doing the job required. And the ball is over and out. 8 points the difference.
Just at the minute, the Saints got plenty of numbers back. They're isolating Revolt in their forward 50. Craig Bolton alongside him.
Swans need a lift. They trail by 8. Barry Hall. Lightning give. Buchanan. Steady sink of the slipper. And they are right back in it.
And again, just perfect forward ruck setup. This is a strategy that worked to perfection.
Buchanan, Sydney's 5th goal kicker, but had only 5 across the first 2 weeks of this final series.
And Barry Hall, a superb bit of forward line ruck work. We saw it last week. Have a look at this. Big Barry up against his opponent. Ackland pushes him out the way. Buchanan coming around on the backside to open up the goal face. Just a 1 metre handball into his path. He had momentum and movement up. And they do it superbly with strategy, the Swans.
Swans haven't won a final on the MCG since 1936. They're not going away just yet. Who can win this loose ball? Fiora first there, but went to ground too easily. Kennelly for Sydney. Can he have some second half influence as he so often does? Great smother Thompson on Matthews' kick. He's St Kilda's top smotherer. Fosdyke seizes it and finds O'Keefe.
Possession number 16 and mark number 9.
And suddenly we're seeing some mistakes creep in, and we know just how costly they can be in modern footy as the Swans decide to come in on a different angle. Or Leo Barry He was bold and brave there. He backed himself in. His kicking, though, didn't match his hard work. And Baker getting in the road, using Del Santo as they branch out wide. Nothing doing for him immediately. He's got Lenny Hayes over the top with a short one. He wants something longer.
Just doesn't look all that well, Lenny Hayes. Leo Barry got past him far too easily.
Just dried up for the moment the run of this Saints that we saw early in the corner, and Leo Barry floats in for a beautifully judged grab. And once again the Swans can reload, and the bullet coming out of defence is Crouch. And he's got heaps away there, Tim.
Corridor football again from Sydney, as in the first quarter. Kennelly to O'Loughlin, and he can't hang on again. O'Keefe, the left side is his natural one. He uses it pretty well. It wouldn't bounce for Hall, but he could be dangerous at a throw-in contest again.
And Rob, just at the minute, Leo Barry trying to run Fraser Gehrig every opportunity you get. That's a great desperate lunge by Boss.
Yeah, just got that little backhanded to it. Let's see how they go with their ruck setups here, the Swans.
Ackland a bit wiser to Hall this time. Brings it down. Maguire. Clever kick. Clark. Oh, yes, that was good. And the takeaway to the veteran. Another who played in the 97 Grand Final. And Aussie Jones delivers to Fiora, storming onto that left side that he can use to devastating effect. All the movement lateral for the moment. And even with the kick, it still largely is. But Revolver's on the end of it. Now, leading for him is Gehrig.
Did that well. Covered enormous ground, Fraser Gehrig. He just kept running and running and running. And he'll need about 30 seconds to get his composure here.
He's been good.
He has been good.
It's the sort of night where he might have lost his composure, but he's kicked 3 goals. Another one here would be telling.
Will it be a tale of two full forwards, Gehrig and Hall, and how they do maintain their composure and, more importantly, put goals on the board, Rob?
Well, it may well be, Hutto. You can see he's just taking plenty of time to settle down because he's blown himself up with all that running. And in the meantime, Raf Clark has been taken off because O'Keefe's been too good for him. Goddard coming on to take O'Keefe.
We'll know early, and we know that it's left side, and that the Saints lead by 3 rather than 8.
O'Keefe is the leading possession winner for the Swans with 17, and then Bolton with 12. Williams has 7 possessions. Bringing the ball back in. Never an easy task, and he'll feel better to have it safely on the chest of Kennelly. Buchanan makes a lead for him just at the top left of your screen, through the middle. He will take a switch in play and a very bold kick, and he decides safety is a better option. Along the line now. Very wide, close, tough one for Jolly to handle. Ackland shovels it over.
And I think Brent Guerra making him earn that. Jeez.
What do you reckon about that?
He's put about 3 down, Guerra. He's had more hits than he's had kicks.
The human cannonball. Blake and Ball continue to duel in the ruck. The margin is 3, and it's a bit of a standoff at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, they need a bit of a game break, I reckon, St Kilda. Stephen Milne, I think, is on the bench at the moment. Only had the 3 disposals so far. I think Grant Thomas needs to get him on, get some speed up in that forward line. Yes, Gehrig's finding the ball. Revolt's making the contest. They need a crumbing forward.
Is it the calm before the storm? 3 points the difference. Almost at the halfway stage of the 3rd quarter. Preliminary final. It's a Friday night. It's a cool night. The rain has largely stayed away, and we've seen some fantastic footy.
Yes, and whilst we've got this other ruck contest, the 2 ruckmen have come down towards it. Ackland and Goods, whose ruck rovings joined the contest as well.
It has been a good stanza for the Saints during the year. And they've looked very good in this quarter, but really haven't been able to put it on the scoreboard.
Yeah, Lenny Hayes, he copped a knock in that first half, and I reckon he's struggling a bit. And that might be one reason why they started him in the forward line and not in his customary midfield position.
Again.
Got him high!
50-50 from a...
Yeah, if you're struggling in the ruck, as Ackland is, the best thing you can do is get in front, because you might get a free kick, as he did there.
Now, he's got a man at centre-half forward. Goddard's away. He just wasn't aware of him. He and Good, you can see at the top of your screen. Now, what will Ackland choose to do? Swans have pushed some extra tall men back deep, but he blazes anyway. Hopes for Gehrig, or maybe Revolt. Maybe it is Fraser. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Baby, 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 it's a goal. And that could be the impetus for them.
Well, that's his 4th goal for the game. It was a high kick to the top of the square. Gehrig and Revolt were involved in the contest. The ball slips over the top, and Gehrig just strength, gets his opponent under the ball and kicks an easy goal.
And Gehrig saying, kick it long. Ball gets over the back. It's to a dangerous spot. Uses his strength to give a little push there to Leo Barry, and then slams it on his boot. His 4th goal.
Saints winning the clearances 6-2. Make it 6-3. Jude Bolton swings it into half forward for Sydney. Davis roving but can't break. O'Keefe. Schneider in there as well, but Hudson Cooley gives to Maguire. And the Saints defence, after being rattled early, seems to have settled.
And Ted, they were rattled early, and what they desperately needed, the St Kilda defence, was for the St Kilda midfield to start to get on top. We saw that in the second quarter, because the last thing that the Saint defenders, players like Voss who's struggling, Maguire who's struggling, and Hudson, they just didn't want a mountain of ball coming down on top of them as it did in the first quarter.
They've kicked 6 of the last 8 goals, the Saints.
Was that deliberate?
Put that rule away tonight.
Looked a little bit deliberate to me.
Oh.
Of course it was.
Unless he saw something that we didn't, resembling a St Kilda footballer. It's highly unlikely. From the maul, Davis, but Harvey covers. Well tackled. Voss. Where's that going? It'll bounce inside and over.
Smart kick. Experienced kick. Kick for touch. Harvey continued to get plenty of the ball.
Swans just 2 goals since quarter time after their tear away first quarter, and all references to the 1972 Grand Final are hereby withdrawn. Ackland front position again, looking for the free. All they'll get is a ball up.
And there's Brendan Goddard. He's playing just inside the forward 50, trying to drag Kennelly back. Goddard's played everywhere tonight. He started in defence. He's run with Adam Goods. Now he's playing as a defensive half forward, pushing back to the goal square.
Getting a real finals education, isn't he? Ball. It's all hands on deck for the Saints tonight, who came in without so many of their stars. Suddenly a turnover. Buchanan pounces. O'Loughlin. Hudson steadfast. Advantage paid, and Blake takes that advantage to Ball. And the Saints are bubbling again. Mark on the wing, taken by Fiora. Quick to dart away. 3 men deep. One of them is Fraser Gehrig, working his way around the boundary. He won't give in. He knows it was out. You can see it in the body language.
That's twice in the last 5 minutes we've seen Fiora swing around on that dangerous left foot of his, just play on with reckless abandon, and no doubt Gehrig and Revolt would like that.
Could yet be a masterstroke from Grant Thomas to include Fiora in the team. Ackland and Ball. The joust continues. Powell, a man who's performed on the big stage of finals so often. Revolt brought it to the front. That was great stuff. Montagna should kick a goal. He should, and he does.
He sneaked forward Lee Montagna. He had about 20 metres on his opponent, Williams. And there's Goddard, who's trying to drag Kennelly out of the action. Able to get the handball to Montagna, and that's a big victory for the Saints.
And great work by Revolt off the ball, shepherding, giving him time to kick the goal.
It's the Saints' biggest lead. Their opponents are coming off 2 finals that must have felt like 10 quarters of football, and right now might feel like a big bear on their back. Ball and Ackland. Ball wins it, and he wins it at ground level. Gwalt meets him. and puts the veteran on the deck. Does the 19-year-old third gamer. Inspiring stuff. The bone rattler. And the story was told on Jason Ball's face. Saints are pressing. They're going for the jugular. They're coming in for the kill. Hayes, nowhere to go this time. Blake helps it to Harvey. Del Santo, non-preferred. Montagna buried. Swans have the numbers. They have the willingness. But whether they have the finishing skills now to pull their way back here remains to be seen. It's a big ask.
Kirk and Aussie Jones watching on at ground level as Ball and Ackland do their thing. Saints getting contributors from everywhere. Matthews muzzles Luke Ball, as he did to Gary Ablett last week.
Well, they've stalled a bit, Sydney. I would think they would need to get O'Keefe deep forward and move O'Loughlin and Hall out, because O'Keefe's running hot. The other two have been pretty cold in this third quarter. O'Loughlin's had one touch, Barry's had two, and that is the Swans forward line. O'Keefe dropping back. I'd keep him there and get the other two Sydney forwards out to put pressure on Brett Voss, because he's having a big night, O'Keefe. 18 disposals, 8 marks, 9 marks, 1 goal.
The other end of the ground is about as populated. They're all around the ball, well, nearly all.
And Rob, I just feel that the Swans, they need a lift from Goods. Blake is doing the run with job on Goods, but Goods needs to give them something. They need someone to stand up. He's the man.
St Kilda by 15 points. Ackland winning this time. Kirk not really able to have an impact since that head wound that has necessitated the helmet. Wonderful player for them, though.
Just had the 8 disposals, Tim, and normally he gets that, he'd have 16 by this stage of the game.
Dangerous play by Blake, knocked it clear. Good sees it, here's Hall. It just didn't land for him. O'Loughlin lost it. Saint defence has lifted. Dangerous from Harvey. It just wouldn't sit for anybody in red and white, and it becomes another wasted opportunity.
Well, it's a hot potato. Great effort by Fiora to get across. Maybe should have spoiled, but that was pressure by both sides.
And now the Saints can break off half back. Montagna has been a great success story in the second half of this year for the Saints. Sharing it around with his young teammates, looking for Gwilt. Milne couldn't run onto it. The experience of Crouch emerges with it and inserts them at least a half forward. Hall imposes himself. Barry Hall, he huffs, he puffs, and he sends them long and strong. Dempster, O'Loughlin was strong at the contest, but the Saints resolute, and Baker sees the line.
He's going to have to chase his own kick.
Can he rein Goods in? He can. Goods able, though, to just release it in time. As he finds Ball, it goes for Williams. This is desperate times at the moment for the Swans. And the Saints again find safety.
Well, Stephen Mill has been on and off the ground. He needs to give them something, just the 3 touches. And poor tackle by James Gwilt, didn't hang on, and Crouch able to slip it. There we see Mill playing on the wing, and he hasn't been able to play on his terms at all tonight.
Swans doing enough attacking, but they just have not been able to land a blow. Fiora waited a long time and then delivered pretty well to Milne, but Crouch was equal to the challenge.
He's played that role quite a bit though, Milne, Rob. He's been starting up the ground of late and then running deep into the forward 50. The Saints like to have Garrick and Revolt in that forward 50 on their own.
Saints have been winning from the throw-ins in this quarter. Tim, 6-1, in fact, is the clearances from the throw-ins only.
Into the last 5 minutes of the term, Sydney desperate for a goal or two, and Nick Davis can set it up, but O'Loughlin is behind, and surely he pushed Hudson. It's not paid that way, but someone keeps arriving for St Kilda, and this time his name's Aussie Jones. Still a chance for Sydney. O'Keefe to Schneider, a very good centre, still no mark though, and again the Saints mop up. Hudson uncertain but giving it off. Del Santo always cool-headed. Well done, Jolly, against Ackland. Won comprehensively. Not much there for the Swans. O'Loughlin tried to cling, couldn't. And again, St Kilda's defence holds together.
Well, it's been deep in their forward half. The Swans 4 or 5 occasions, and the Saints have been able to run the ball out.
Yes, they've had the last 5 inside 50s, in fact, the Swans.
And Maxie Hutchison has had 5 handballs in this third quarter. And there we see Goddard at full forward with Kennelly. And that's a little victory to St Kilda to take the running Kennelly. Averages 8 handball receives a game, does Kennelly?
Rob, Kennelly's got to try and run up the ground, though. He just can't stand there alongside Goddard in the goal square. The ball's inside their forward 50, up their forward line. Pull him up the ground.
He's accepted it, hasn't he?
He has.
He's accepted it, and he's just got to play a bit of Russian roulette, take off and make his opponent chase him.
Swans trying everything to surge forward. Buchanan went solo, took on a huge task, and almost succeeded, but not quite.
Just a super effort by the little fella. Backed himself, ran, took them on. And there you can see ball. And Ackland served it up pretty well in this third quarter for St Kilda in the ruck. He's rucking against 2 ruckmen who are far more experienced and more accomplished, but he's held his own in this third term.
We saw no touches there for Michael O'Loughlin. He's certainly been touched, though, hasn't he? He's had 2 or 3 Swans to fly against.
He's been in contests. He hasn't won any. Maguire, Jolly has to go the spoil. And Harvey has to resign himself to trying to win around a throw-in. St Kilda by 13 points. Catchable, but looking pretty steady at the moment. The last 3.5 minutes of this third quarter could be telling. Lenny Hayes climbs in. Goods, though, is able to seize the loose ball. Williams, Buchanan calling for it. He goes the other side to Crouch. Fumble costly. Back to Buchanan now. Now can O'Loughlin do it this time? Well played Hutchison initially. And again the Saints with numbers. There's not a lot of really high quality back there, but they're holding together. Harvey to Montagna. Long ball, Sydney with numbers, Crouch, Kirk, and they'll try again. Like Robert the Bruce, they'll keep coming. Williams appealing for the free. Schneider, can he nail it? Could he? Not quite. O'Loughlin keeps it alive. Oh, great smother. By Hutchison, was it?
Maxie Hutchison's third quarter has been sensational.
Sensational by Hutchison, sensational by O'Loughlin. But this has to be a free kick, Rob.
Yep.
He hits this out, a great smother, but that's got to be deliberate.
Well, it's out of bounds, you're right. Had it gone through for a behind, okay. You're right, Steve.
They are digging deep here, the Swans. They haven't been able to put it on the scoreboard. You just get the feel that they need to get one before three-quarter time.
I reckon Maxie was going for a behind. I think he was trying to concede a behind.
That doesn't matter, though, right?
I know. That's right. And that's why I think the umpires are made of blue.
There was a lot of pressure around him, but sometimes that counts for nil.
Oh.
Goods needed to be a little more committed. Coming through. Hayes up the rebound. It's given out on the fall. The replay will be interesting.
I reckon they got it right.
Up your foot.
Off 1 foot and then onto the knee.
Hayes onto the knee of Schneider.
So that is not out on the full, is it? Thought it was too high. Doesn't matter now. Gwilt.
A judge just below, presumably.
The St Kilda physiotherapist has been out to Maxie Hutchison. I'll tell you what, he's tested his hamstrings with that smother. He's had a super quarter. He's had 5 handballs under pressure in that defensive 50. This is where they're dangerous.
Yeah, this is where Nick Davis is dangerous. O'Loughlin's got a double back. Great leap from Goods, not quite. Now Barry Hall. Now Barry Hall. In the blink of an eye, they've got one.
Well, they've peppered the goal now, and finally they've kicked the goal. Barry Hall was the man, swooped on it and snaps it over his shoulder. That just came from sheer football going deep into the goal square. St Kilda have been terrific. They've been able to stem the flow, but on that occasion, the Swans were able to kick the goal.
Let's have a look at Sydney. Their forward ruck work set up. Where is the St Kilda ruckman? Nowhere to be seen. It's a hit forward. Davis on the flow, hooks it to the top of the goal square. Another strategy goal. They've had 16 forward 50 entries, the Swans, to St Kilda's 6 in this quarter.
And the Saints have kicked 4-2 to 2-3. The Saints have scored every time they've entered their 50. Therein lies the tail. Ablett, high ball. Could Sydney kick another and spook the Saints out of this? Harvey to Jones.
Big gather by Harvey. Sydney were about to swarm.
9 for the quarter for Robert Harvey. Make that 10. He is producing another wonderful stanza. And this is good from St Kilda. Thompson to Montagna. Gehrig and Barry. Barry backed himself bravely. Brave Leo.
Yeah, great play, Leo Barry.
Great gather there by Robert Harvey.
Yeah,
Sydney were on the fly.
Fraser just trying to turn Leo around, and fortune favours the brave, Leo Barry. Well done.
Just over a minute left. Big minute this. Free kick to St Kilda for a trip, and it's inside 50.
They're big calls, aren't they?
And it is the most accurate man of the high goal kickers in the competition, Stephen Milne. It was there.
The worry for St Kilda is that Ackland's had to do all the ruck this quarter because Blake's running with goods.
Accuracy rate higher than 75%. The distance has done him here. And the Swans hold up. And what a cool mark it was by the veteran, Jason Ball.
And he gets his man. This is Bevan. Brought in last week. Hasn't seen a lot of action. But it's going to come down to the 22nd play. You get the feeling tonight. Everyone being tested. Barry, Buchanan, only seconds remaining. It's all set up for a last quarter. 7 points the difference. Siren about to sound. What's your feeling, Wolsey?
Well, it's a 4-goal-to-2 quarter in favour of St Kilda, but I think the last 12...
Kilda led by 1 point at three-quarter time against Port Adelaide and lost by 6. It was a 7-point swing. Tonight, they lead by 7 at the last change. Stephen Powell gives them the first movement. Who will arrive first? Oh, Revolt, he's met by Jude Bolton. Craig Bolton there as well. Revolt comes back steaming.
I reckon Revolt was lucky. He was almost... the ham in the middle of the sandwich, just escaped the hit. Knew that he was aimed at. Here it goes there. Well, we probably did catch him across the hip.
Those free kicks in total are 18-9 St Kilda's way. They don't get one here for the moment. The umpire's trying, willing the ball to come out, but it won't. Scott McLaren's given 7-1 St Kilda's way. Darren Goldsping's given 6-1. 2 of the 3 umps have given 13-2. Controversial, Hutto.
Very controversial, Tim. As if we needed any more. 7 points the difference. What to expect? Powell couldn't get on the end of it. Perhaps O'Keefe can. Davis towards the line. Both in unfamiliar territory. And now the race is on. And a racehorse to win in Williams. All he could do was gain territory. He did that reasonably effective, but you can see the first line of defence. Oh, friendly fire. Just stunned Robert Harvey for a moment. Was that deliberately out of bounds? It was on the full.
Free kick to Sydney.
Yes. Goes to Snyder, who heads for half forward. And Jolly's been good tonight, been a good presence for them. Matthews, Buchanan comes. Can't bring the ball to ground. O'Keefe ready to pounce. It's getting slippery. That was clumsy from Hayes. Appeared to be in the back. Not so. That won't make Barry or Paul Roos very happy. In the middle of the ground. Bolton. Now Aussie Jones. And Crouch. And Fiora. For Revolt. Who wants the ball the most? The question will be asked time and time again in this last quarter. And these committed 44 Warriors will give it all they've got. At the moment, the margin is 7 between them.
Great pressure. There's a bit of fumbling going out there, but that ball is very hot at the moment. Both teams just hitting the ball on their way. Some great tackling, some great desperation.
Rewalt doing the ruck work against Ball, and he will struggle.
Clangers since half-time, Sydney 14, St Kilda 4.
And the reason Riewold's doing the ruck work is because Ackland's dropped back to the wing position, the kick behind play. So it really makes it hard for Nick Riewoldt to have to go up against a player who is a ruckman and who is so much bigger. You can just see Jolly setting himself up.
Saints haven't won a flag since '66. The Swans since 1933. If there's anyone here tonight who saw the Swans win their last flag, and how much strain can their heart take?
Yeah, and Adam Goods has gone to full forward.
Were you here, Wolsey?
Yeah, it was, Hutto. It was a tight game, I tell you.
A three-pointer in the West, a three-pointer at the SCG. It's a seven-pointer right now. Brett Kirk in the midst of it. Nick Davis down in the back half. But Brett Voss is at ground level to cling to the mark.
And you would expect Harvey was on his feet ready to go. Jones, Maguire, a long ball. That misses. And the margin is now 8.
Barry Hall.
Oh! Calamity for the Swans.
The umpire hadn't finished waving the flag. He has got out of jail, Ty Kennelly, and he knows it. Look at the grin on his face. His 100th game for Sydney. Mum and Dad have come out from Ireland, and they'd be proud of their boy.
And they'd be just breathing a little more easy after the umpire blew the whistle, that's for sure.
Ty was just winding us up.
Bolton in the back pocket. Again, devoid of options, so he goes for the shortest possible. There's Kennelly. Davis was floating past.
And this is where St Kilda have to be disciplined to go one-on-one, because if there's a free player, the Swans will use it.
Well, you wouldn't say he was completely free, but he got away enough, Nick Davis. And we know how dangerous he can be. No immediate option, so he might be forced to go fairly long and into the space. O'Keefe has presented time and time again. Voss got the important ball that time to ground, and Paul with a fumble. Bolton, and can the Swans capitalise? Buchanan, he rode the bump beautifully. O'Keefe launches to full forward. Hall waits down. Harvey, beautifully wrapped up. Schneider kicks the goal, and the Swans will not go away.
And Ryan O'Keefe with his 21st disposal gets it deep into the Sydney forward line. Desperate stuff, and a crumbed goal is something you don't see a lot with this Sydney team. And Schneider on the left foot in the right place at the right time.
Back from the dead last week. They are climbing out of the grave again. And here go the Swans. Buchanan on his wrong side. Played a big part in that last goal. Fiora buried. Now Kirk, who spoke to the players in the seconds before this last quarter started. Crouch to Buchanan. Swans dangerous. O'Loughlin, good spoil. Schneider again, non-preferred. Puts the Swans in front.
Well, super goal by Adam Schneider. It was the tackle that actually kept the ball inside the forward 50s. Schneider's work previous to that was what set it up. But he's dangerous, and he kicks that goal to put Sydney in front. Super play, Adam Schneider.
And the move's been made. 2 quick goals to Adam Schneider. Lee Montagna playing in the forward line has been told to get down there, and Grant Thomas is under all kinds of pressure at the moment.
They've kicked the last 3 and they've hit the front. Early stages of the last quarter. It is going to be very willing from here. Davis to half forward. Runner has to get out of the way. Saints need some runners. They need the dash of Aussie Jones, and they need their captain to lead from the front. And he had a man in power going past. Gehrig's got away. Can't control it. Barry and Kennelly collaborate, and Buchanan, he has been a fantastic player tonight, linking up with Jared Crouch, who glides through the middle. Doesn't really make it easy for O'Keefe, but he's got the ball on a string. O'Keefe to O'Loughlin. Can he get there? Goods was diving as well. Barry Hall run down. Now the pressure on the Saints. O'Loughlin pounces. Lady Luck is smiling. And the Swans are steaming forward.
And a bit of panic here. Aussie Jones could have taken possession. He's tapped it hard off Maxie Hudgston's head into the arms of O'Loughlin. 3 goals in 3 minutes.
And Rob, just at the minute, at every centre square bounce, the Swans are hitting the ball forward. The St Kilda midfielders have got to realise this. They've got to have a defensive sweeper, and they're not having that. They have not got one there at the minute.
Aussie Jones, he was Schneider's opponent when he kicked those 2 goals, and now he's mucked up another one.
We're watching will prevail over logic. St Kilda led by 15 points into the second half of the third term, and the Swans looked almost broken. Paul Bevan losing his mouth guard there. He has a willing Jared Crouch to run for him, receive and deliver.
Played a super game, O'Keefe.
Well, they've got to get Boss off him because he can't run with him.
Paul outmanoeuvres Maguire. Can he do it from long range? He can. They can do no wrong. It's the Swans by 16. This has come from nowhere. Steady as the Rock of Gibraltar, the Swans.
O'Keefe again.
Killer blow.
And Steve, they've got to make a move because Brett Voss, as brave as he is, he just cannot run with O'Keefe. Who would you switch on to him?
I think you've got to look at Biora. He's 6'2". He's got good endurance. He's just got to try and nullify O'Keefe's effectiveness.
These are desperate times for the Saints. They do have time on their side. The Swans have been so efficient. Inside 50 4 times in this quarter. The result, 4 goals.
Ackland can no longer do the ruck work. He's been taken off, so you've got Blake in the ruck. And he is undersized against Jolly.
Will that list of injuries tell on the Saints? But it's the Swans who have had the exhaustive last couple of weeks in the finals. They are full of running at the moment. Will there be one more twist?
Well, what you might find, Hutto, is Sydney may well get another goal and then say time to close the game up and let's just keep possession, deny St Kilda the ball. They could lock down severely and just rob St Kilda of seconds to kick a winning score in this last quarter. They play tempo football. They play the tempo that suits them.
Well, it's up tempo at the moment. Harvey can't escape the clutches of this desperate, resilient Swans team. Bolton to half forward. Big Barry. He's been at his belligerent best in this last quarter, and he sets them alight again. Another unlikely hero. Buchanan, the full 360. O'Loughlin.
Rob, just at the minute, the St Kilda backmen look very tired.
Yeah.
Maguire is falling off the back of Hall. He's a good 5 or 10 metres off him.
Absolutely. He is done. Matty Maguire is done. The socks are down, the hands are on the hips, and as Steve said, he is running behind Barry Hall. He's conceding front spot, and this is desperate times for St Kilda. I think they're gone.
So we've got 2 St Kilda backmen done at the minute, Maguire and also Voss.
They're 4-1 from set shots for the night. Michael O'Loughlin, 51 goals for the year.
Huge kick this. He kicks this, and as you said before, Rob, they may possibly close the game down.
Could just about be the killer blow. Not quite, there's still time. And Saints fans are stunned. This is not the script they were expecting to see play out.
And the defence, so long seen as the Achilles, has finally succumbed. This is not how it was meant to be. The week off was meant to tell. Two excruciatingly hard finals were expected to be too much for the Swans to bear. But they've kicked the last 6 goals.
Raf Clark has been moved onto O'Keefe, and another thumping hit by the Sydney ruckman.
Clark gets back for it and overruns it. So does Buchanan. Harvey. Hayes. St Kilda have to work the miracle now. Bolton and Revolt. Good swoops. Good tackle by Goddard. But Voss can't get it out.
Yeah,
did he dive or did he fall on it? The umpire lets it go. As has been their way through the night. Has to be a bounce.
He's going to ping someone. Stephen Mill is now playing back pocket on Schneider.
What's the free kick for holding the ball? I mean, that's the first free kick for the quarter, which is reaching its middle stages against the man playing the ball. Goddard, too far out. Revolt circling. Captain needs to lift them. It's all down to him here. Brings it down. Del Santo swung the boot, couldn't make contact.
Have a look at the numbers of red and white players there. They just swarmed back to help out. And they will love this. They'll have the congestion, they'll have the numbers, they'll force it through from behind, take it to the boundary line.
They're circling. Good.
He conceded. He was happy enough to put the ball through, and they take control of the football. They can take block again, they can settle themselves down, and they keep St Kilda frustrated. Now that is amazing, isn't it?
It's a smart play though, isn't it?
It is a smart play, Ardo.
You'd like all your snaps to be that accurate.
Yes. 13-6 to 9-9.
21 points. It'll take 4 goals from St Kilda, and they are the ones who haven't kicked one for a long time now. Leo Barry has had a hell of a night against Fraser Gehrig, but he has traded blow for blow and just about broken even. Oh, he's taking him on, and he wins. And he wins with tremendous courage and delivers perfectly to his skipper.
And once
Fraser
again,
Gehrig is in real trouble.
And so is Maguire, Rob. He's cramping. Fraser Gehrig's in trouble.
Yeah, Fraser's hurt his hand. Fraser's hurt his hand in that chase. And Sydney will just take control of the ball. They're in no rush now. They will just put the little short pass in, keep possession.
What do they do, Rob, the Saints? Do they put Revolt onto the ball? What can they do?
Well, at this stage, they've got to go one-on-one to force a contest kick. But the big fellas in the ruck have been a real problem. Look, no Koschitzke certainly hurt the Saints.
Ball keeps it moving eventually to Kirk. And there's loose men everywhere, and how can this man feel his own? O'Keefe.
Raphael Clark's his opponent at the moment, and this fella with the footy, I reckon he's been best on field.
And there's injuries everywhere. There's mounting casualty toll for the Saints.
Yeah, that's where Fraser Gehrig hurt that injured hand. Oh, dislocated knuckle.
Look away now, please.
Oh. And Andrew Thompson goes down to add to the injury woes. They're gone.
He has been wonderful. Ryan O'Keefe. Oh, what a night! 24 disposals for the night for Ryan O'Keefe. His career best is 25. And he's kicked 2 goals.
Those walls are closing in. there appears to be no way out. The Swans have shocked everyone. They shocked us in the first quarter with 5 goals. We weren't surprised when they only managed 3 through the next 2, but they've kicked 6 in half a quarter in the last to take this preliminary final by the throat. And the man who started it, the Schneider man, can kick his 3rd for the quarter, and the Swans are in the grand final. The Swans will have another crack at it next week. They lead by 33 points. St Kilda, after winning 9 out of 10, and the one they lost was a narrow defeat in adversity, are being blown away.
And Rob, they have absolutely smashed the Saints out of the middle this quarter. Yep. They have forced the ball forward. They haven't got big names in the middle, the Swans, but they are a very close unit, very well coached. Well done, Sydney.
And Lee Montagna looks like he's on a ice skating rink. Schneider's, geez, been dangerous up forward, hasn't he, with those 3 goals. Matty Maguire is off, and you'd have to say they have brought a player who was not fit enough to play a final into the game, and Fraser Gehrig, of all people, has gone into the back line to play on Barry Hall.
7-2 in the clearances in the last quarter. They have dominated this talented Saints midfield. They have completely dominated them, the Swans.
I think an interesting aspect of that is that Grant Thomas has not placed a high priority on acquiring a tap ruckman. And with Ackland off, they're being beaten, and some can bear the pain no longer.
Trent Noble, they were prepared to let him go. He wanted a little bit of a pay rise. He was paid peanuts last year at St Kilda. He's an honest, hard-working ruckman.
Ball won't give up. Guerra. They need to find some goals, and they need to find them fast. Leo Barry, as ever, getting the job done. Raph Clark and Bolton. High tackle, not spotted that time by Goldsby. They are still full of beans, aren't they? They are completely energised. The Swans. Blake rode the tackle, Gwilt, and it's over and out.
Big week coming up for Sydney. And the event that will be shown and re-shown between now and Monday afternoon is that. Will Barry Hall be playing next Saturday, or will he be watching his teammates?
Yeah, well, that's the issue, Tim, and that will be the discussion. And there you can see Big Barry enjoying the game at the moment. And why wouldn't he? He's playing on Fraser Gehrig, who's been switched from full forward to full back. And the Saints, they are history.
That's the only vision of the incident, which happened 40 metres off the ball.
Yep, no doubt about seeing that vision. Through the middle, it's Fiora, takes it all, he escapes. They have to play on, don't they, now at all costs. Revolt, Bolton with him every inch of the way.
That's a free kick to Canelli against Guerra. And he has had a dog of a night, just the one disposal. You can see him hanging onto the jumper of Canelli. Good call by the umpire.
It's their first free kick for the quarter and their second for the half, the Swans.
They've done all right. Jason Ball, next week will be his last game, barring some horrible mishap in the last 7 minutes. Or a tie. He might just go on forever playing drawn grand finals.
Of course, he won one, didn't he, with West Coast back in '94?
He did. Nick Davis, the man who brought them this far. And now we'll go a step further and play in a grand final with a second club, having played in a losing one with Collingwood a couple of years ago. Nick Del Santo stands in his way this time. He's been brave. But in the end, Sydney have just had too much team for St Kilda. They are a wonderful team, a wonderful fighting unit. Voss is tied up, and there'll be another ball up. There was a moment just before they broke for the last quarter when Brett Kirk called them together, and you could just feel the intensity from 120 metres within that huddle, and I think we've seen the result of it in this last term.
Well, he's one of the most bravest players in the competition, has the respect of his football team and the football world at that. He has been a super player for the Swans over so many years, but what a wonderful outfit. You have a look at their talent out there. Yes, they've got talent, but I don't think there's a team in the competition that has as much faith in each player, and as a team as a whole.
Yes, Brett Kirk, he's the vocal captain, isn't he? We know Hall inspires, but Kirk has been the man to rev them up at three-quarter time in the last couple of weeks. And it's worked a treat. Who would have thought when they trailed by 15 in the third quarter that the scoreline would read like this with over 5 minutes remaining. 15-6 to 9-9.
St Kilda supporters leaving.
And I know we'll see.
Gee, well done, Barry Hall. As they're a well-drilled unit, this Sydney team, but what's been disappointing is the lack of run that we've got from St Kilda, particularly in the second half. They had the week off, they had the fresh legs, and this is a bitterly disappointing way for St Kilda to finish their year.
Well, it is disappointing, Rob, because there's no doubt they've got the most talented list in the competition, yet injuries, soft tissue injuries, have really hurt them basically in this latter part of the year.
It's all gone wrong for them, that's for sure, and that trend continues now. Bolton got Goods ahead of him. Doesn't really mind if it goes out. Goods.
Well, just looking down on the ground, Nick Riewoldt, he can't run as he'd like.
Rob, here's that moment at three-quarter time. Brett Kirk called them in, and you could just feel it.
That's leadership, isn't it, there?
Well, when he got that terrible hit, blood all over his face, we knew he'd be back as quick as they could patch him up, and he was.
He never says die. Saints have a go, but the best they can muster is one, and they still trail by 32. And it's all gone for the Saints. For the second year in a row, they'll have led into the last quarter of a preliminary final, and for the second year in a row, they won't be there on the big day. Kennelly to Barry.
Gut feel, Steve, will Fraser Gehrig play next year?
Well, what is he, 29 years of age? I think he should. I think if he retires at the end of this year, I think he's still got 2 or 3 years left in him, and I think he'll regret it as time goes on.
What about Robert Harvey, who just put that pass to Nick Riewoldt, oldest man in the game? Robert Harvey, super last game that they played in Adelaide, best of field. Will he go on? Be 35 next year.
Yeah, well, I think you leave that decision to Robert Harvey because he's been an absolute champion of the game.
He showed a fortnight ago he's still good enough. Riewoldt, what disappointment he must feel. Did it cross the line? It did. It's a behind. The margin is 31. The seconds tick away, and as far as the Saints are concerned now, the end probably can't come soon enough. They're gone.
Yeah, this is the cruel time of a final, isn't it? Especially a cutthroat one, and one so close to a grand final. Just rubbing it into the opposition supporters. Thompson to full forward. Guerra at the back, the only hope for the Saints, but he was no hope because the lines of defence in front were just too strong. Ty Kennelly. A few traffic cops out there just telling him where to kick it. It's all pretty academic now.
Insult added to injury. A little flick by Nick Del Santos. Not that it matters.
Let's go, Nick. It's already time one.
It will be interesting to see how the Saints hierarchy assess the season, Rob, won't it? I mean, you can pretty much put it down to injuries, but it'll be whether they really make changes to the list or not, it remains to be seen.
Yes, they'll certainly have a good look at that because, you know, a history of injuries, players like Harvey, Koschitzke, Hamill.
Well, there have been soft tissue injuries, Rob, and obviously that gets back to a management because they've been reoccurring.
I hope that's not an ankle.
It does look that way, doesn't it? You wouldn't be taking any chances now.
Maxie Hudson, hamstrings. He's got through the game. I thought he was great, Hudson, in the third quarter when they were under siege, but finally the floodgates opened in that early part of the last quarter.
In fact, if you were Paul Roos, you would think about taking a couple of your prizes off the ground. Oh, just about sums up the night for the Saints, certainly the second half of the game. Danger, danger again, but Baker kept it moving, and now Aussie Jones. Gwilt. Fiora to try and give them some run here. Sure which way he was going for a moment. Sideways was the answer.
Gee, that's terrible. He ran sideways and kicked sideways.
Buchanan. Out to the wing to Bolton. Swans in no hurry, but They might as well go forward, although there's plenty of Saints back there. That's pretty much sums it up, how the Saints fans are feeling.
While all this is going on, they're just chipping it around sideways and backwards. Sydney, I'm watching at the other end, and Barry Hall is taking great delight in running Fraser Gehrig off his legs. And I tell you what, Fraser deserves better than that. Why not put him back to full forward and put Matty Maguire onto Barry Hall? Maguire's sitting at full forward, doing it easy at the moment. And there's Fraser. Have a look at him, absolutely exhausted. He doesn't deserve that sort of treatment. Get him up at full forward, put Maguire back there.
Jolly continuing the advantage. I wonder if we're seeing the last game of that man, Andrew Thompson.
Buzz! Buzz! Buzz!
He has been a wonderful servant for the club. He was there in '97, and he's had to endure these two agonising preliminary finals over the last couple of years. Will he go on again next year? Ablett, the unlikely ruckman. They're inside 50. Out to Jolly. The kick run down. And Del Santo, so perceptive, finds Harvey, gets Revolt, and the Saints are still running through the middle. Harvey never says die down for Maguire and Barry. And Adam Goods is a free kick, and it's going Sydney's way.
And they can run on. The advantage is called. Fosdyke has time to stumble and still mop it up and still not have anyone within 30 metres of him. That's the way this game is ending. All Sydney. They've trailed by 7 points at the last change. They've kicked 7 goals to none in the last quarter. The winners can smile. The losers can please themselves.
And Paul Roos has just made 4 changes. He's taken O'Loughlin off, Kirk off, Ball off, and Buchanan.
Will they have enough left to win a flag next week? The Swans, the Bloods of old, will play in their second grand final since 1945. And they'll try and win their first flag since 1933. What a day it'll be. Montagna for the Saints. Williams. Kennelly. Jolly. There can't be more than seconds left. Sydney have produced a heroic last quarter. The Swans are through. They're in the grand final. For the Saints, it is a bitter, bitter end.
Shake down the thunder from the sky.